Welcome to Wisdom Matrix 1111. Today, I'm so excited to share with you some essential insights from a truly inspiring book, Healing Yourself by Christian D. Larson, originally published in 1918. Despite being written over a century ago, the wisdom in this book remains as relevant and powerful today as ever. It's a sublime guide to healing for the body, mind, and soul. For me, it stands out as one of the finest books on health and healing. Whether you're on your own healing journey, seeking better health, or simply curious about holistic wellness, this book offers profound wisdom and practical guidance to elevate your well-being. We'll delve into some key parts of this wonderful book that I believe will resonate with you on a deep level. Christian D. Larson was a pioneer in the field of positive thinking and mental healing, and his work has touched the lives of countless people, inspiring them to tap into their own inner power for health and transformation. His approach emphasizes the incredible connection between the mind, body, and soul, showing us how our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes can directly impact our health. If you're looking for ways to achieve better health or are on a healing journey yourself, this might be exactly what you need to hear. So, let's dive in. The will to be well. Know the will. We must understand the will and its true function if we would always be well, and the reason is evident. The will is one of the most important factors in the human system and contains within itself powers and possibilities that the majority have never called forth into action at any time. These powers, however, can, when applied, turn the tide of life in our favor, no matter what the difficulties or circumstances may be. And this is especially true in the realization of perfect health. The power of will. We must always will to act before we can act, whether the action be physical or mental. And the more we express in the action, the more powerful and effective will that action be. Whatever we do, therefore, results will depend largely upon how much will we give to the work or purpose in hand. This being true, we should always turn on the full current of the will. We should never act in a half-hearted way, but should invariably act with all the power and will we possess. We should always will to be our best, and will to do our best. The increase, when we come to measure results, will be very great indeed. Important fact: the more will you apply along any line of action, the more energy and power you cause to flow into the same line of action. Continue to will, with force, determination, and persistence, upon any purpose or project, and you will gradually draw more and more energy into that purpose, until all the power within you is working with you and for you in the realization of that purpose. Then you can certainly get results, the greatest and best results possible. Will to be well. The same rule holds good in your purpose to gain health or build up a greater measure of health. Will to be well, and you cause all the energies within you to work for better and better health. Will to be strong, and you aid nature both directly and indirectly in building up the strength, the vigor, and the virility of your entire system. Turn on the full current of the will, and you aid nature immensely. You turn the tide of life in your own favor. You inspire all the elements and forces within you to leave the side of weakness and go over to the side of life, power, and strength. You turn conditions round about completely, so that the things that were against you will henceforth be for you. You can do all these things if you use the will, the full current of the will, and always will to be what you want to be. First exercise. Take positive hold of your will and be determined henceforth to apply the full power of the will, and always for more life, for more energy, for greater strength, for better health, and for everything that can add to your greatest welfare and highest good. Take hold of the will in this way, many times every day, and in every instance feel deeply and be tremendously in earnest. Second exercise. Turn the power of the will upon all the conditions of your health and train yourself more and more to will greater vitality and better health into every part of your system. And whenever you use the will, feel deeply. Try to feel that the force of your will comes forth from the great and invincible powers of the soul, and try to feel that whatever you will to realize or attain must come to pass. The power of the soul can never fail, and your will, your true will, is the power of the soul in positive, determined expression. Third exercise. Turn the power of the will upon that part of your body that may need better health. Then will more and more life, power and health into and through that part of the body until you can actually feel every cell thrill with vigor and virility. Think of that part of the body with depth of feeling and will to be well. Concentrate all your thought and the full power of mind and soul upon that part of the body and will to be well. And know that the power of your will comes from the limitless power of your own invincible soul. You may therefore have unbounded faith in what you are doing, because you know that the results you desire must positively follow. The strong mind. Whenever you think or use your mind in any form or manner, use more and more of the will. Make your entire mental world positive and strong. And always remember to combine deep feeling with every exercise or expression of the will. This is most important because the deeper the feeling, the stronger the will under every circumstance. And a strong, deep will means a strong mind, which in turn means greater power of mind over all physical conditions. The mind is by right the master over the body. Therefore, the stronger the mind becomes, the greater becomes your power to master and regulate every part of your body. And this is a power we all want to possess. When the mind can control the body perfectly, then we may always have perfect health, an unlimited amount of vitality, and an abundance of rich, wholesome, energizing life. Personal power. Use the full power of the will upon your entire personality. Make your personality strong, positive, alive. Will to have more personal power. Will to express more personal power in every movement of the body, in every feeling of the mind, and in every action of the soul. Will more life and more energy into every cell in your body, into every nerve, into every fiber, into every force, into every function. Be determined to be personally strong and virile, and use the full power of the will with this important end in view. The result will be that you will gain in every form and manner, especially in vigor and in health. When you apply the full power of the will upon every part of the personality, you arouse to positive action all the vital energies within you. And when your personality is thoroughly alive, it is absolutely impossible for any ailment whatever to enter your system. Do not give in. When conditions in your system seem adverse, do not permit yourself to ever think of giving up or giving in. Will to pull through. For the fact is that so long as you hold on with the full power of will, the forces of life in your system will be on your side, working in your favor. The forces in your system will never give up so long as you refuse to give up. And there is no condition in your system that the forces of life in your system cannot overcome if you give them sufficient time, continuous encouragement, and the full force of your own determined will. Will to stand by the powers within you under every circumstance, and those powers will stand by you. They will positively see you through, and you will come out with full victory and with a greater realization of freedom than you ever knew before. Most important, train your mind to realize more and more deeply that willpower is soul power, that the real power of the will comes from the soul, and that the soul is positively invincible. Then proceed, in this realization, to will to be well. Continue under every circumstance to will to be well, knowing that the limitless power of the soul is back of your will, in your will, and working positively, with full force, through your will. Special exercise. Take several moments 3 or 4 times every day and give special attention to the making of the will stronger, deeper, and more positive. First, simply will to will more. That is, think of your will, knowing what it is, and determined to express more of the power of will in every act of the will. This in itself will, even in a few days, strengthen the will remarkably, and you will find that you can give a great deal more power and effective action to everything you purpose or undertake. Second, concentrate the will, with deep feeling and more determined action, upon the various faculties and qualities in your mind and upon the various functions in your personality. In fact, proceed to train the mind to express more will into everything in your entire system. Third, direct your subconscious mind to give greater force, greater volume, greater positiveness, greater power, and deeper action to every expression of your will. This is most important, and here we should remember that the subconscious will invariably does whatever it is directed to do, provided we feel deeply when we give the directions and continue to be tremendously in earnest. Gaining ground. The more you apply the foregoing methods and principles, the stronger and deeper will the will become, and as the will develops in force, positiveness and power, you will find that you will gain ground continually in the building up of mind and body, provided you make it the great rule of your life to will to be well, and results will increase the more deeply you feel that the limitless power of the soul is back of your will, in your will, and working positively with full force through your will. Imagine yourself well. The principle, the mind always creates what we imagine, and it is the imaging faculty that determines what we are to think. We are as we think, and we think as we imagine. Therefore, if we are to think as we wish to think, and be what we wish to be, we must first learn to use the imaging faculty according to fundamental principle and exact science. The first rule: continue to imagine under every circumstance what you wish to become, gain, or realize, but never imagine for a moment what you do not want. Train your imagination in a most positive manner every day to comply with this rule, and gradually you will find that all the conditions of mind and body are becoming more and more as you wish them to be. General exercise. Form a mental picture of yourself in your imagination as you wish to be in mind and body. See yourself well and strong with the eye of the mind. Imagine that you have become what you wish to be, and try to feel through and through what you have imagined. Train your mind to enter as deeply as possible into every correct move you make with the imagination, and be determined to see and feel the perfect picture you have formed of yourself. Make a special effort to this end many times every day, and in fact, whenever you have a moment to spare. Think of this perfect picture of yourself as frequently as possible, as much as possible, and as deeply as possible, and be tremendously in earnest. Important fact: the human system is constantly filled with creative energies. These energies are at work night and day, building and creating, and they always select those things as their patterns that we imagine with the deepest of feeling and the greatest of force. Imagine yourself sick, and if you give much force and feeling to that imagination, the creative energies within you will thereby create in your system the very ailment you imagine that you have. In like manner, imagine yourself perfectly well, and those same energies will proceed at once to create perfect health in every part of your system. But your imagination must be positive, deeply felt, and thoroughly alive through and through. Imagine any condition in yourself, and the creative energies will create that condition, provided the imagination be deep, vivid, and intense. This fact proves that the power of imagination is a marvelous power, in truth, the greatest there is in man. Remember this. More than 90% of the ailments that appear in the human system come largely from the misuse of the imagination. And it is a positive fact that no sickness could appear in the life of any living entity where the power of imagination was applied in a positive, wholesome, and constructive manner during every moment of existence. The Great Law. When the imagination of man is right, everything in the life of man will be right. When we imagine only the true, the perfect, and the ideal, we shall constantly grow into higher and higher realizations of the true, the perfect, and the ideal. Thus, we gain freedom from the lesser or the wrong by constantly rising into the greater and the right. Special exercise. Take 10 or 15 minutes of silence, preferably alone. Turn your attention upon the great within of your own mind and soul. Then picture, in the within, the perfect form of health and power that you wish to realize in your external personality. Think of this perfect picture so deeply and so vividly that you can actually see it in the light of your own marvelous imagination. And having formed the picture in the within, proceed to concentrate upon that picture with all the mental power you possess. Focus attention so absolutely upon that picture in the within that you know nothing else whatever for the time being. Persevere until your concentration becomes perfect, and repeat the exercise 2 or 3 times every day. The result of this exercise will be that you will actually create in the within that very form or new creation upon which you concentrate with such determination and mental power. And whatever we create in the within will positively express itself in the outer personality. Remarkable law. Concentrate mind, thought and feeling upon any condition in your system, and you create that condition invariably, provided the power of concentration is directed inwardly and repeated frequently with all the power you possess. Interesting experiment. Turn your attention upon the great within, and picture, in the within, a counterpart of yourself having all the elements, qualities, and appearance of external youth. In brief, imagine the internal existence of a new physical form, young, vigorous, virile, alive with the fire and splendor of youth. Then concentrate upon this internal form of virility and youth in the same deep and powerful manner as was indicated in the preceding exercise. Repeat many times every day, and the result will be that you will actually create in the within another personality, a personality with youth, life, and power. And gradually, this young personality from within will come forth into the outer physical form, and cause the outer physical form to regain, in every mode and manner, all the elements, conditions, and powers of youth. In brief, the newly created personality of youth and virility from within will remove all the conditions of age that may exist in the outer personality, just as darkness is dispelled by the light, and will thereby restore natural youth to the physical body, something to which every physical form is entitled as long as life continues in that form. The possibility of this law is extraordinary, in fact, limitless in its own field. And the truth is that any man, even though he might have the appearance of 90, could regain the appearance of 35 if he would apply, in a thorough and effective manner, the full power of this remarkable law. The unfailing truth. Whatever we create in the within, the same will positively express itself in the outer personality, and the creative energies within can create any condition or quality we desire, provided they are properly directed by the marvelous power of imagination. Curative power. The fact is that the creative energies in your system can restore any part of your body to perfect health. The curative power of those energies is positively limitless, but they must be given the proper direction, and this imagination alone can do. Proceed by turning your attention to that part of the body that is ailing. Then imagine that part of the body perfectly well. Proceed farther by trying to see and feel what you imagine. That is, imagine that you see every fiber perfect and whole, and imagine that you feel perfectly well throughout that part of your system. Proceed still farther by concentrating all the power of mind and soul upon what you now imagine in that part of your body. Focus attention absolutely upon what you now see and feel in that organ or muscle or nerve, and the very thing you imagine that you will create. You will create perfect health and a superabundance of vital energy at the very point where your concentration is directed. These are the results that you will positively secure, but your feeling must be deep, your concentration must be absolute, your imagination must be perfect, and you must be tremendously in earnest. Vitally important. Never use the power of imagination at any time for any other purpose than that of building for the true, the perfect, and the ideal in yourself, in your life, in your world. Imagine always the higher, the greater, the wonderful, the sublime. Train your imagination to look towards the heights and create the richness and the glory of the heights for every part of your world, here and now. The real living of life. First rule, learn to live more. All power comes from life. To increase power, physical or mental, we must increase life, and we increase life by constantly living more. Second rule, learn to give a more positive expression of life into every part of body, mind and soul. To live more, we must express more life through every channel of consciousness, and this expression must be positive and strong, and at the same time perfectly poised and deeply serene. Third rule, learn to feel the real interior action of life at all times and in every part of the system. To live more life, we must feel more deeply the reality of life itself. That is, our conscious feeling must penetrate into the very spirit of life so that we can actually realize ourselves in the limitless life current. Important fact. We do not really live until we can feel the limitless life current pulsating in every fiber and vein. We do not really live until we live in the very spirit of life, and to live in the spirit of life is to feel through and through the power of ceaseless, limitless, invincible life. Remember this, all ailments of whatever nature can be traced to insufficient life, but it is impossible for any ailment to enter the system under any circumstances so long as there is an abundance of life. And to maintain an abundance of life, the law is to constantly live more. Fourth rule. In order to live more, we must place ourselves in perfect harmony with the law of advancement. The soul was made to advance continuously, to move upward and onward eternally, and therefore we are not true to the soul unless we so live that this advancement of the soul may be promoted in the fullest and most thorough manner, without any interruption whatever. And to promote this continuous advancement of the soul, we must enter more and more perfectly into the spirit of life, into the interior force of the great, invincible life current. This current is forever moving forward into more life, into a larger life, into a higher life, into a greater and more powerful life, and we may move upward and onward with this current if we learn to live more and more deeply in the very spirit of real life. The real cause. If we should undertake to trace any particular ailment back to its real cause, we would find that cause to be the advancement of life coming to a full stop. For the fact is that whenever we come to a full stop in our advancement or growth, we lose hold upon the real life current. That is, we step aside from the life current and, for the time being, are not filled with the life of that current. The result is that we fail to receive our full supply of life. The life force within us is not replenished at the time, and our supply is not sufficient to carry on, in a perfect manner, the natural functions of existence. Accordingly, conditions arise in the system that may lead to physical ailments, mental inefficiency, or adversity and wrong in general. To state it briefly, we cause our supply of life to diminish whenever we come to a stop in our growth or advancement, because whenever we make such a stop, we step aside from the life current and therefore are not receiving our supply of life at the time. And whenever we diminish our natural supply of life, we make it impossible for mind and body to perform their functions perfectly. The consequences will be that ailments, wrongs, and troubles of many kinds will follow. The great law. Continue to advance in the within, in the soul, during every moment of existence. Do not come to a stop at any time or under any circumstance. The purpose of life is to move upward and onward eternally. Be true to that purpose, and you will ever receive more and more life. Continue to live and move and have your being in the very spirit of the great life current. Do not step aside for a moment. Be in that current eternally, and you will always be filled, through and through, with all the life you can realize, appropriate, and apply. Fifth rule. If you do not realize at once the existence of the life current within you, proceed to imagine the interior existence of that current. Make this imagination so clear and so vivid that you can actually see that current moving upward and onward eternally, and with invincible force through the entire domain of your soul. Then imagine that you are in that current, moving in that current into more and more of the one invincible, limitless life. Proceed more deeply into this realization, and imagine that you actually feel the full force of that life and that current in every fiber and vein. The result will be that you will enter more and more deeply into the very spirit of limitless life. You will then be in the full force of limitless life, and when you are in that life, you will be so full of life that there will be no room anywhere in your system for discord, ailments, weakness, or wrong. You will have turned on the full light of life and power, and all darkness will have disappeared completely. Deep feeling. Know the truth, that there is within you the force and power of limitless life, that a great invincible life current is eternally passing through your soul, giving more and more life to every element in your soul. Know this great truth. Then proceed to feel more and more deeply the very spirit of this wonderful life current. And the more deeply you feel this current, the more thoroughly you will enter into the full force and power of that current. You will constantly receive more and more life. You will live more and more every moment, and to live more, that is the secret to complete emancipation. Give more life to every atom in your system, and your entire system will become pure, wholesome, vigorous, powerful, virile, and absolutely well. The true life. When we enter into the spirit of the full life and the real life within us, then indeed shall we begin to live the true life, the life that is ever becoming larger, richer, more perfect, more beautiful, more ideal. We shall not only gain health and freedom, but shall as well gain more and more of all that is worthy and desirable in human existence. But we must first gain possession of more life. We must first learn to live more and forevermore. We must first learn to live and move and have our being in the great life current, the limitless life that is all within us and all about us everywhere. And to learn these things, we must place ourselves in perfect harmony with that great law of the soul that is ever prompting all life to move upward and onward forever. We must live constantly in the spirit of this law so that we may enter every moment into the deeper life, the larger life, the richer life, the greater life, the more spiritual life. Our living must become real living, and in real living there is peace, there is power, there is purity, there is wholeness, there is freedom, and there is perpetual increase of real life and of all that is worthy and good in life. The great secret then is this: enter forever and ever into more life. Then all that is good must inevitably follow, and in a constantly increasing measure. The right use of body, mind, and soul. First principle. In order that perfect health may be realized and maintained in the human system, it is absolutely necessary that complete and continuous harmony be established among the three great factors in the human entity: body, mind, and soul. And one of the first essentials to this end is the right use of these three factors in their respective fields of expression. The body must be used under all circumstances according to its true nature and real function, and the same is true with regard to the mind and soul. But it is not possible for any one of these three factors to be used as it should, unless all three are used as they should. For this reason, our purpose must not be confined to the right use of the body, or of the mind, or of the soul, exclusive of the others, but our purpose must be to find and continue the right use of all three in perfect harmony. There are many things that can be done to the end that this right use of body, mind, and soul may be maintained. But the first essential is to inspire every element and force in the system with a strong, continuous desire to bring about this right use at once and to the most perfect degree. In other words, we should resolve from this moment on to use the body, the mind, and the soul according to their true nature. And we should make this resolution so strong that every part of body, mind, and soul will feel the power of that resolution. The result will be that the entire system will respond more and more to what we have resolved to do, and in consequence we will develop within ourselves a second nature, so to speak, having a tendency to promote the right use of everything that exists within us. The law is, whatever you make up your mind to do, that every power within you will help you to do. But your resolution must be strong and positive, and must continue to inspire every element within you all through life. Second principle, every element and force in the human body should be placed in action, at least to a certain extent, every day, and therefore the great rule in physical culture is to exercise daily every muscle in the body. The value of this rule becomes more and more evident the more perfectly we realize the fact that life can find expression only through those physical fibers that are exercised or that are given a certain amount of action every day. And in order to maintain health all through the system, the life force should be expressed continually through every part of the system. When a muscle remains dormant or unused for some time, it is weakened and, in addition, may harden or ossify, and thereby originate old age conditions. Perfect health, however, demands perpetual youth all through the body. That is, perpetual renewal of all the elements all through the body, and also the full expression of life, vitality, and virility through every fiber and cell. One of the first things, therefore, to do in this connection is to adopt a simple system of physical exercise that will ensure the placing of every muscle into action, at least for a few moments every day. To outline such a system of exercise will not be necessary here, as anyone can, through the use of a number of well-known exercises, ascertain what is necessary to place every muscle in motion every day. But these exercises, when applied, should never be strenuous, nor should they be carried out in a mechanical manner. The rule should be, when taking physical exercise, to try to combine the mind with the exercise and expect results mentally, with full faith and enthusiasm. In other words, train the mind to enter into the exercise. You will thereby call into action the finer energies of the body as well as the purely physical energies, and this is exceedingly important, as a good, healthy body demands the full expression of all the forces of the personality, the finer nerve forces and vital forces, as well as the physical forces. Third principle. In the right use of the body, it is absolutely necessary that the life force be expressed and exercised in every cell and fiber of the body. No cell can be in good health unless it is absolutely filled every day and continually with the life force, and to this end, we should aim to secure a stronger and more complete expression of the life force throughout the physical personality. To proceed, concentrate your mind for a few moments upon the different parts of the body and arouse at the time a strong desire for the full expression of the life force in every fiber and cell. In addition, try to picture or imagine the full expression of life in every part of your body and enter into the exercise with the deepest depth of feeling that you can possibly realize at the time. This mode of concentration should be taken for a few moments several times every day, and if it is made strong, positive, deep and penetrating, the results will invariably be the increase of life and energy all through the physical system. Every cell will be made more active, every organ will perform its functions more perfectly, and there will be a decided increase in vitality, vital energy and working capacity. Besides this, a deeper realization of the life more abundant will be gained for the body, and we know full well that the more life we feel in the body, the greater becomes the joy of living. This exercise, therefore, will accomplish many things and should be entered into with earnestness and enthusiasm. Fourth principle. The mind should be wholesome at all times and under all circumstances, and every form of wrong thinking should be eliminated completely. We cannot use the mind rightly unless every state of the mind wholesome, harmonious and constructive, and therefore no adverse mental state must be permitted at any time. To cultivate a wholesome mind, the first essential is to train the mind to entertain harmony, purity, mental sunshine, positiveness, kindness, sympathy, loftiness of thought, aspiration, and the tendency to always look for the good and true and the beautiful in everybody and everything. The law is this, that it is practically impossible for ailments of any kind to enter the body so long as the mind is thoroughly wholesome. And therefore, the cultivation of a wholesome mind becomes one of the great essentials in the attainment of perfect health. Fifth principle. In the right use of the mind, it is necessary that we learn to think with the entire personality. That is, we should not simply think through the brain, but we should think through every nerve and fiber throughout the entire personal form. In fact, every cell in the system should act as a channel for the expression of mental power. To accomplish this, try to think of the entire personality whenever you use the mind in any way, or whenever you entertain a wholesome or constructive state of mind. In other words, whenever you think or whenever you enjoy, invariably think of the entire personality, so that the enjoyment and the thought may, to a certain extent at least, enter into the personality and find expression through various parts of the personal form. In addition, take special moments every day for the purpose of training the mind to use the whole of the personal form as a channel for thought. And the exercise may be as follows. Take any quality such as health, life, power, personal worth, ability, or any quality desired, and turn your attention upon that quality with the deepest of interest. Then, as you feel your mind entering into this quality with genuine interest, try to project the activity of the mind down through the personality. That is, try to extend mental action to every cell in your body. The mere effort to do this will produce results to a certain extent, and as the principle is practiced, you will find that the mind will, more and more, extend its activities to different parts of the personality. Later, you will discover that you can actually feel the action of thought in every fiber in your system, and it is then that you are really beginning to build up for yourself a powerful mind. No mind can become powerful so long as it uses the brain only. But when it begins to express itself through the entire brain, through all the nerve centers, through all the nerve fibers, and through every physical cell in the system, as well as through every force in the personality, then the channels of expression for the mind will become so numerous and so extensive that all the latent forces and powers of the vast mental world will begin to come forth in greater and greater measure. The reason for this is evident, because when the mind can use the entire personality, the scope of mental action will increase to such an extent that the free and easy expression of every mental force may be promoted thoroughly and completely. This principle, in addition to the remarkable increase of mental power, will also establish greater harmony between mind and body, which is extremely important, because the mind cannot control the body so long as it finds expression only through the brain. But when the mind begins to express itself through the entire personality, then every part of the body will become more responsive to mental action, so that the complete mastery of the body by the mind may be realized. And the mind should exercise complete mastery over the body, because in this way alone can the physical instrument be maintained in perfect condition under every circumstance. Sixth principle. The mind should aim to fashion all thought in the image and likeness of the ideal. We do not use the mind properly unless we are always thinking towards the ideal, and the reason for this is found in the fact that we do not think the truth unless we are constantly aiming to enter into the realization of higher and greater truth. And to enter into the realization of higher and greater truth, we must think towards the ideal. The effect of this process upon health is readily discerned because the mind will, when thinking towards the ideal, create more ideal and more perfect conditions in the mental world. And every condition that is created in the mental world will, sooner or later, find expression in the physical personality. The same practice of thinking towards the ideal will tend to perfect all the expressions of life through the mind or the body. And this is most important because it will tend to develop those finer states of life that are always wholesome and pure and in perfect harmony with the true order of the higher life within. To carry out this principle, we should select a number of the highest and best ideals that we can think of, and establish those ideals before the mental vision as clearly and distinctly as possible. Then we should frequently turn attention upon those ideals and at every opportunity express a strong and intense desire for the mind to work up towards those ideals, or reach out for the higher realization of the truth and the life and the power that we know those ideals to possess. However, the application of this principle must be continued with faith, determination, and enthusiasm. We must develop a passionate love for the ideal, and the entire system must become so filled with intense desires for the ideal that every fiber and atom will respond to the force of those desires. No effort must be half-hearted, but every effort must be wholehearted. And as we proceed with the whole heart, we shall soon succeed in renewing the mind upon a higher plane of thought and life, and thereby transform the entire personality in the image and likeness of those higher and finer things that we are realizing in our growing consciousness of the ideal. Seventh principle. The first essential in the right use of the soul is to think of the soul as the real you, as the real individuality, as the real self, and as the real and permanent master over everything in the human system. It is the soul alone that has the full light. It is the soul alone that has the full power to lead and to guide. Therefore, nothing can be right in mind and body unless it is inspired by the soul. It is the soul alone that knows what should be done or what can be done. Therefore, the soul must occupy the throne. To apply this principle, we should train ourselves to think of the soul as the real self and as the ruling power in everything we do, and we should also think of the soul as having the power to do everything right and the wisdom to know what should be done at any time or under any circumstance. In the application of this principle, we will find that our consciousness will gradually rise more and more into the realization of the soul life. And as this higher realization is gained, we will begin to live in the soul instead of in the body where we previously lived. But our living in the soul will not weaken the body. On the contrary, the more fully we live in the soul, the more life and power we will express both in mind and body. Therefore, the result will be great gain in every possible manner. The law is this, that when we live in the higher, we become more able to provide everything necessary for the lower, and this is self-evident, because all life and power comes from the higher. When we learn to actually live in the soul, we shall be able to gain possession of a far greater measure of life and power. And whatever we gain possession of in consciousness, that we invariably express throughout the personality, in addition to other gains that will be realized in this manner, we will find that the entire personality will be refined and made superior. But we must remember that this refining process in the personality will not make us more susceptible to the ills of life. It is the contrary that is true, for the fact is that the more refined and spiritual the personality becomes, the more immune the personality becomes from all weakness, from all ills, or from any adverse condition whatever. We shall find that the power of the spirit, when expressed in the body, can protect the body, and when this spiritual expression becomes strong, full, and positive, the protection will become so complete that no ill can befall the personal form henceforth. Eighth principle. The soul should be lived in every element and in every atom of the body. We should not simply be conscious of the soul or conscious of the great truth that we are living in the soul, but we should live the life of the soul throughout our entire system, and then make that living so full, so strong, and so thorough that we can actually feel the soul life in every part of mind and body. The soul is always pure, wholesome, harmonious, and powerful. Therefore, the more perfectly the soul is lived in mind and body, the greater will be the purity, the wholeness, the harmony, and the power that we will realize in every part of mind and body. Perfect health must follow, because when the pure, the strong, the perfect, the wholesome is expressed in every atom, there will not be room for discord, disease, weakness, or any adverse condition whatever. To apply this principle, proceed by training your consciousness to realize as fully as possible the existence of the soul life. In other words, try to become more and more conscious of the soul. Then enter so deeply into this consciousness of the soul that you can actually feel the life and the power of the soul. This feeling will gradually find expression throughout your personality, but you should increase this expression by creating a strong, positive desire for this expression, and by giving this desire added force and determination under every available opportunity. In brief, learn to live in the soul and learn to give the soul life to every fiber in your being. This will mean the coming forth into the personality of that which is always well, always perfect, always wholesome, and always in peace, power, and harmony. Ninth principle. The conscious realization of the existence of body, mind, and soul should be present to the fullest possible degree in every thought, feeling, and action. That is, whatever we do, we should always recognize all those three factors as being indispensable factors in every expression of life. The practice of recognizing body, mind, and soul in everything we do, and the practice of giving fuller expression to body, mind, and soul in everything we do, will tend, first, to produce a larger and a more perfect manifestation of the elements, forces, and powers that exist within us on all planes, and second, to produce a more balanced and more harmonious state of relationship among these three great factors, and in health as well as in all desirable attainments. It is highly important that body, mind, and soul harmonize, and also that the largest and best from the spiritual, the mental, and the physical find the fullest and most perfect expression possible. We should always make it a point to give soul to everything we do, and should always think of the soul as taking part in every action, whether of mind or body. We should always make it a point to combine mind and body in all life, in all functioning of the personality, whether physical or mental or both. Through this practice, the three great factors, body, mind, and soul, are trained more and more to work together in all the actions of life and in all attainments and achievements we may have in view. And the greatest results must naturally follow where these three factors work together in harmony and to the most perfect degree possible. Our aim should be to consider body, mind, and soul in everything that we carry forward into expression, whether the plane of expression be physical, mental, or spiritual. 10th principle. The soul is always perfect and can be used as it should in life only when constantly recognized as perfect. Under all circumstances, therefore, we should think of the soul as being absolutely perfect in every form and manner. The mind grows more perfect as it grows more and more fully into the realization of the perfection of the soul. Therefore, we should encourage and prompt the mind to act more and more fully towards the perfection of the soul, because such action will invariably tend to develop the realization of perfection in every part of the mind. When the mind continues to ascend towards the marvelous, the wonderful, and the sublime, every part of the mind will accordingly take on more and more of all that is high and lofty and perfect in the soul. The body, with all its conditions and states of expression, is invariably the direct effect of the present development and conscious realization of the mind. Therefore, when the mind ascends into the realization of the perfect, the complete, the higher and the better, the body will naturally respond and will give expression to the higher and the better in all its functions and manifestations. In the attainment of health, we understand fully how the application of this principle must work wonders. In the first place, we realize that the soul is well. In the second place, the mind takes on the perfect health of the soul as the mind grows into the consciousness of the perfect health of the soul. And in the third place, the body becomes like the mind, therefore grows in the expression and manifestation of perfect health, as the mind grows in the consciousness of that perfect health that always exists in the soul. The application of this principle should receive our best attention and should be entered into with unbounded faith and enthusiasm. This will mean a wonderful change for the better, which will finally culminate in complete emancipation. And that concludes our exploration of Healing Yourself by Christian D. Larson, a timeless guide on healing for the body, mind, and soul. What's truly fascinating about this book is how its wisdom has transcended time, sharing profound insights that align with many great thinkers who came after Larson's era. Authors like Joseph Murphy in The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and Dr. Joe Dispenza in You Are the Placebo, to name a few, have carried forward this deep understanding of the mind-body connection and the immense power we all hold to heal ourselves. These teachings remind us that the knowledge of how to maintain health, achieve healing, and harmonize the mind, body, and soul has been proven time and time again across centuries and cultures. The wisdom passed down by great philosophers, healers, and authors from different walks of life all points to the same truth. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are powerful forces in shaping your health and overall well-being. Let these concepts guide you on your path to greater health and healing journey, helping you tap into the incredible potential within you. Thank you for tuning in to Wisdom Matrix 1111. If you found this inspiring, feel free to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below, and please help support the channel by liking the video and hitting the subscribe button. Let's continue this journey of growth and healing together. You've got this. Peace.